exactly the round that Antonio has dropped out in before, so he's looking to set the record straight and clean things up in this one. The losers quarters, all you need to step on through to the final round. You just need to make it into those finals. Really, really tough for him to try and get there. But as we mentioned before, we've just seen it, so we won't dilly-dally on it too long. Was in the Players' Cup 3 region qualifier. This is where he dropped out the last time. But he made it all the way in Players' Cup 1, so got the experience, got the cool head, and definitely, as we just saw, got the knowledge of that team to push on through.
To push on through, though, is going to have to take down Luca, who accomplished by himself top 32 in Cologne Regionals in 2020, as well as a variety of top finishes in 2019, including a top 16. But this is a really interesting team here. So the Landers, we've seen enough of the Landers. We saw a lot of that in the last match against this Colossal, but there's also this Azumarill. So this is something that was on our only seen once list, and I'm really excited to be able to showcase it in this match.
The Azumarill could be quite impactful here. There's no redirection, right? So there's no reason to stop it trying to deal with something like the Colossal. That could be an interesting interaction, but I just want to see it get played. I want to see what it can do. Maybe it can provide some answers. The Landorus, though, certainly a solid option. A bit of redirection with that Amoonguss as well. So redirection Max Quake, an option for Luca, and maybe he's going to have to dig a little bit deeper than Antonio's previous opponent in Marco to try and stop these setups.
Yeah, but there's a lot of things on this team that can be trying to deal with this Colossal and Azumarill as well. Being able to dish out some massive water type attacks as long as it can get past that Rillaboom.
Getting through that Rillaboom might be an interesting one, and Azumarill definitely has ways to avoid that and cause problems, so that might be an interesting mechanic to look at as we head on into the game. But there's got to be the first port of call. Don't even worry about the Rillaboom yet. Just worry about that Dragapult, worry about that Colossal and what it's been doing on turn 1, at least every single game in the previous game. Rillaboom's a problem for later, but right now you've got to be respecting and worrying about Colossal.
All right, well, let's start getting into this match to see if Colossal can do what Colossal does best in trying to make this run through the losers bracket and take down another Players' Cup. So it is going to be led off here next to the Dragapult. Classic combination, and it's going to be facing down against that Landorus. It disguises so much, but with the Galarian Moltres to boot.
Another combination, though, where the Landorus can Earthquake freely without having to worry about hitting its partner, and that's something that we looked at in game number 2 previously when it was next to a Togekiss. Then there was something in the back that was deemed more important, as the Dynamax candidate was just able to play around that one a little bit. That said, Landorus is immediately leaving the field.
And no redirection to stop that Landorus being taken out on the field currently, so it is going to take the opportunity to swap out for the Amoonguss, but there is a max coming from Luca's end, and it's going to be that Galarian Moltres.
Galarian Moltres, clearly the focal point of this team, clearly feels confident that it can do enough to try and answer something like this Colossal setup. Would have to be worried as a flying type if I was the Moltres, but maybe just confident that the boost to the health from Dynamax will do enough. No shocks really on exactly what we're seeing from Antonio's side. Pretty sure I could write the playbook for the first couple turns when you play this team.
Of course, but there is a reason that this is a lead we see consistently with the play that we see consistently. Colossal has to be respected, or else it's going to run away with a game, and run it's going to do, as it's going to get that steam engine boost right off of the bat with that Surf from the Dragapult. And of course, no weakness policy boost. It wouldn't be a Colossal without a crazy high special attack to try and take down its opponents. And Vocalith right off of the bat coming out here. It did target into that Landorus slot, so that means the Amoonguss is going to be picking up a huge hit here from the Colossal, but the Moltres gets to at least stay safe for this turn and gets the opportunity to fire off a equally devastating max airstream into the Dragapult, getting that critical hit, but not quite the KO.
Amoonguss gets a speed boost, not exactly what you want, but at least the Moltres gets one too, trying to keep up. Steam Engine does make you alarmingly fast though, so it could be taking a few of those. Amoonguss dropped as soon as it comes into the field though. I like the way that the Amoonguss came in, made sure that there was room for the Landorus to come in and play a little bit, and just kind of respecting that, hey, it might go down, but at least I've got my Landorus safe for the following turn. That said, the Landorus doesn't have any speed boosts, not able to really get anything off with this Intimidate, so a lot of work to do for Luca in this turn as the Pokemon count already in favor of Antonio and his Colossal.
Oh, certainly. The Landorus not so safe now as it rejoins the field in place of that Amoonguss. So it is going to be sticking in as well as Colossal, of course, that Steam Engine, getting opportunity to hit off a huge Max Volfolith into the Moltres.
Ooh.
Really close to picking it up, but not quite. Moltres just managing to hang on, getting a weakness policy boost of its own, paired with that Berserk. So this Moltres about to go Berserk, but unfortunately, the breaking swipe from the Dragapult is going to come through and just clean up what this Colossal couldn't. So all those boosts to waste.
Moltres not able to capitalize on all of the work it put in, but Earthquake through from Landorus. Not enough to knock out the Colossal, though. Just going to be able to hold on and take that one, even through a Life Orb. So Landorus taking mad amounts of recoil just over and over here. The same 4 board, we do finally get to take a peep into Antonio's team selection. Has to replace the Dragapult with something, and with that Landorus in play and visible, and of course already down to the last 2 for Luca. Got to be making some changes. So Rillaboom coming in will have complete control of the terrain once again, but it does have to face down this Regieleki, very, very fast Pokemon. You know, not able to get the preferred terrain, but at least we get to see all 4 Pokemon from Luca in this one.
Well, of course, but Antonio making quick work of the Pokemon, of course. The Moltres only being able to capitalize off of 1 turn of its max being huge, and Amoonguss being taken out as soon as it hit the field, definitely hurting as well. And I mean, this Landorus still pressures the Colossal, but not really when this Colossal has the opportunity to still go for another, for this max here. And sure enough, that is going to be the end of this first match. Luca already seen the writing on the wall and giving the Antonio the first match here, and Colossal taking a steamed engine boosted 1-0 lead.
Yeah, just running away with the game. Perfect game plan. The answers kind of were there, I think, but just weren't executed properly. The Landorus switched out when it doesn't want to take the Volcolith, but it could at least try and fire back with something like a Max Quake. I'm just a little bit curious as to why that one switched out and why the Landorus didn't stay in and try and fight its corner a little bit more. I don't hate the Dynamax over on the Galarian Moltres either, but we saw just how much damage it took, and yes, you got it in range to activate Berserk, and obviously you get that weakness policy while you're at it, but it was so low, it was easily cleaned up by the Dragapult. So, you know, Antonio playing this strategy perfectly, and it looks like this could be one of those situations where there's no easy response to it, or just no comfortable ways, so Luca could be struggling a little bit to get a good answer to this.
Oh, 100%. I mean, Max Quake or Earthquake seems like the easiest way to be dealing with Colossal, but if Colossal's going first, which that's what it aims to do, can really try and shut down those options. So be interesting to see what changes in this game too, to try and preserve this Landorus and make sure they can deal with this Colossal, or what other tools are brought in this game too.
I want to keep on going in this losers bracket match, see who's going to be keeping themselves alive and making them in a perfect position to try and get through to those global finals. So let's dive right back into it. I doubt we're going to see a change up in lead from Antonio. It's been working so well. No change in the lead from his opponent either.
Maybe recognizing the issue isn't necessarily as much with the lead, but how the lead was played. We did see the same thing in the last match between Antonio and Marco, where the answer was there, just a little bit of adjustments needing to be made. So maybe Luca going into this game too with the same idea.
Luca's got to make an adaptation, and the Landorus has to be the adaptation for me. You just can't ignore how impactful it can be in a matchup like this. The access to Max Quake, even just really powerful Earthquakes right off the bat. So vital in being able to stand a chance against something like this Colossal and the Dragapult. So a really big turn for Luca here. Down in the losers bracket, you do not want to drop out.
Well, this is already a big change. There's going to be no pivoting on Luca's end here. The Landers is going to be staying in. And to boot, this Landers is going to be Dynamaxing. So we did get a peek that this Landers might be in a bit of trouble, but if Landers can hold on, it can definitely start applying that pressure back that is so necessary. But it first has to match up with this Colossal, which is also going to be taking its opportunity to Gigantamax here.
An adaptation I really like. I do think the increased health, just being able to take a little more damage on something like the Landorus, which can guaranteed fire back, so important when you're planning out the early turns against Colossal. You know what the Colossal power is going to do. It's going to be Surf. It's going to be the follow-up attack from Steam Engine. So, Steam Engine weakness policy boost, absolutely huge. This Landorus just needs to take an attack and then be able to fire back and limit the impact this Colossal can have on the game.
If I had to write a handbook on how to play Colossal, this would be the first chapter and the end of the book, the Surf, Max Volcalith, but at least the Landorus in its Dynamax form is going to be living this hit, which means it gets the opportunity to finally do a hit of its own. Max Quake coming out. We saw that Earthquake wasn't enough, but this Max Quake with the boosted attack is going to be finally cleaning up this Colossal and not letting it run havoc like it did in the first match.
Shutting it down, turn number 1. Exactly what you want to do when you're facing off against the Colossal. Of course, you have to be respectful of the Volcalith damage that will be coming through every single turn. Doesn't give you much afterwards to try and kind of keep going on that one. The Moltres, though, coming into play, being able to stick around, not take any situation that really hurt it in game number 1, where game number 1 it got caught by one of those G-Max Volcalists, obviously super effective hit, really easy to take it down. But the Pokemon advantage this time falls into the kind of advantageous position of Luca after turn 1. No early loss, no loss of something like the Amoonguss on the switch in, and just being able to kind of force an advantage with this Landorus. The Landorus doesn't have long left. The Landorus, of course, looking dangerously low, does have to respect the G-Max Volcalith residual damage, the damage that it's going to put on itself from the Life Orb, and any priority from something like the Urshifu. So Landorus maybe just kind of switching it up, being able to, just take the trade 1-for-1 on G-Max, and then being able to move on from there. But Urshifu applying a good amount of pressure. This Moltres is kind of waiting to get a boost. I think it needs at least a Berserk, and it's not going to be waiting this time to go for anything like that.
Instead, looking to stay safe in the back as Amoonguss joins the field. And speaking of staying safe, Landorus just opting to go for the Max Guard means this Breaking Sway unable to connect, and the damage that it's dealing to the Amoonguss is very, very little here. Shifu is going to get the opportunity to go for the Surging Strikes, though, into that Amoonguss slot, and it's going to take this very well. This is not very super effective hits, but it is going to at least bring this Amoonguss down to about half of its health. But it does keep the Moltres at least safe for this turn.
The Moltres, being able to come in the back, maybe find a bit more of an opening when it's not taking all of that residual damage. That said, the Landorus, another low impact Dynamax, only getting 1 attack off. Yes, it was a really important attack into that Colossal early on, but it wasn't able to do anything else, and just the pure speed and even a little bit of priority over on Antonio's side of the field, just applying so much pressure here. So Antonio going to force the 4th Pokemon out of Luca, right back to the same 4 that we got to take a look at in the previous game, and could just be one of those situations where Regieleki is asked to do all of the work. The one in the group project who has to rally everyone together and try and keep them going.
Yeah, it's definitely a role Regieleki has to fill sometimes, but one that it does so well. I mean, we were just talking about speed and this Regieleki being an absolute pain to deal with. It is so fast, and with such a good special attack and move coverage as well. It's just so fantastic. So definitely one is able to put in work, especially against something like an Urshifu here. But Dragapult just looking to go for that swap out into this Rillaboom here. Set the terrain as well as be potentially taking it a bit better.
Well, being able to save the Dragapult for later, maybe wanting to get a little bit of an advantage over on something like the Moltres. But for now, the Rillaboom coming in and just saying, you know what, I'll control the terrain for a little bit, and then I'll be able to put a lot of pressure down with my grassy glides in this grassy terrain. And so putting, I think, himself in a good position. Antonio, interestingly enough, this is the 5th game of his that we've watched, and this is going to be the 5th time he's bought exactly the same 4 Pokemon. So clearly very, very confident. The other bonus that we get to look at for the Rillaboom is it kind of gets spored by this Amoonguss, and that spore could be causing some problems, trying to open up on those late game win conditions. So Amoonguss getting significantly weakened actually by just the pure amount of damage going down from the G-Max Volcalith. The Regieleki's been chipped away too, which means any potential focus sashes are dealt with.
Of course, it's the same 4 Pokemon, but it's the same 4 Pokemon that are working. Doing a fantastic run through this bracket, and of course, is doing hot in this game and applying a lot of pressure. I mean, Rillaboom did get that speed drop, but not that it's going to care too much in the face of a grassy terrain and a grassy glide. And of course, not getting scored or being affected by this Amoonguss is fantastic to boot. But the Regieleki just opting to stay safe. Moltres joining the field, but fake out into the Amoonguss slot means that Antonio gets to do everything this turn, and following that fake out is going to be a Surging Strike targeting right into that Moltres.
That's a lot of damage going down on the Moltres. Of course, the Berserk will get activated, but the Moltres is so dangerously low that it should get cleaned up really, really easily. The special attack boost, kind of nice. Amoonguss not able to play this turn, and the Moltres brought so low that it doesn't even get a chance to use its Berserk boost. Once again, 2nd game in a row, it gets the lovely set of boosts and isn't able to play with them. The Amoonguss as well, bought just low enough, I think, by the fake out. So this has just turned into a disastrous turn for Luca, losing 2 Pokemon in exchange for absolutely nothing. And Regieleki has been dumped to the whole group project now, and is being asked to deal with 3 Pokemon over on Antonio's side of the field. I talked about the Focus Sash earlier. It's actually not relevant. This Regieleki, as I'm sure Antonio knows by looking at the team sheet, is holding the Choice Specs and isn't going to be able to fire back with enough big moves. So that game